There's gotta be some kind of truth in what I'm saying.
All right, I think we are live. Welcome to Whiskey Weights and heavy emphasis on the whey today. I am Chuck.
I'm Zach.
We will not be partaking in the alcohol as it is midday and we have other obligations to do this afternoon.
Yeah, typically this is our first midday-ish kind of show. Usually it's post-workout, post-dinner in a sense. And so I don't really feel comfortable drinking whiskey in the middle of the day when I need to do some other stuff.
Yeah, it's pre-dinner normally for me because I eat a late dinner.
Yeah.
So normally it hits me a little harder than you.
Yeah.
That's why I start slurring sometimes. But figured we should at least do the whey part of this. We don't really talk about our protein intake. And you've already got yours mixed. I've got to mix mine. So I'm going to do that real quick. How has your week been so far?
It's been pretty good. I finally got credentialed with Blue Cross Blue Shield, so I've had to, set up the electronic medical record and all that kind of stuff. So it's exciting. So now I can finally start taking on clients with Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance. Got that. Got a little minor infection on the incision part of my hand, so I had to start some antibiotics.
Oh.
I know. It's just, I think there was a little bit leftover gauze in it and kind of grew over the skin, but it's healing well. So.
Well, that's good. I don't know if you can hear me right now, but.
He said that's good. So how's your week been, man?
It's been pretty exciting and productive. This past Saturday we did the live streaming over in Mississippi for the Natural Strongman.
That's right.
It went very well. Gained a couple of new members to the channel, a lot of new subscribers. I'm about to make a mess here.
It's a little bit more intensive than just pouring a glass of whiskey.
It would be a lot easier if it was just whiskey. Don't need a funnel for that.
Do you think they would have some whiskey flavored protein?
Dude, I would buy it.
Maybe you can reach out to First Form and be like, hey, just proposition for you.
Speaking of, what flavor are you drinking?
I've got the cookies and cream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Particular brand you're supporting today?
Mostly I've been just using Muscle Tech.
Okay.
It's just kind of been tried and true. Like for me, it's not ever giving me any kind of stomach issues. It's been good. Seen some good results from it.
That's good. I always tell my athletes, my clients, anybody I'm working with, like there's three things to look for when you're drinking a protein powder: the taste, how easy it mixes, and then does it mess up your stomach?
Right. I've tried a number of different protein powders, and honestly, this is one of the only ones that I found that just have no issues with my stomach.
Yeah.
It mixes well. I typically mix mine with milk. I'm just a milk boy. My nickname in college was chocolate milk because I used to go get chocolate milk after morning workouts and before my 8 a.m. class.
Anytime I fix Mace some chocolate milk, I tend to take a big gulp myself, but I've never had issue mixing this with water. Like I used to not be able to drink protein powder unless it was mixed with milk.
Right.
But this tastes really well, and it doesn't take a whole lot of shaking. Hopefully it's not picking up on the mic here.
Well, I think you gave me, I think I'd forgotten my protein drink one afternoon, and you let me try the root beer. We did chin chin. Chin chin.
I didn't swallow.
But I think you let me try a root beer flavor one, and it mixed really well with water. It was really smooth. It's like really fine, which is not something you typically get with a lot of protein powders.
No, and this one is not to sound like a darn sales ad, but this one is becoming one of my favorite flavors. It tastes almost like those pre-made Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's called Cafe Latte.
Oof.
And it tastes just like the pre-made Starbucks with a lot less calories.
Is there any caffeine in that one?
No.
I was just curious.
It's just the taste. Yeah.
You getting a workout in today?
At some point, yes. I've got the guys coming in the afternoon where I got to build a new program for them for this week, but we're going to try to move to a 3-day full body, 2-day core and cardio.
Okay.
So we'll still be working out 5 days a week. We just won't be doing any compound movements, but 3 days a week.
I got you.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to start a new 6-week program today. Obviously, I'm still going to have to modify to lighter weight and things that I can't. Grip is not there yet, but I think this one's going to do 2 days upper body, 2 days lower body, but it's also mixing in two days of cardio and then 3 days of HIIT. So it's going to be a little bit more intense than what I've been doing in the last, or what I've not been doing in the last 6 to 12 weeks. So I think I'm going to use this first 6 weeks to just kind of get back into a little bit more intensity. And then once the hand is fully healed, I may redo the program again and just go all out. I'm really getting, excited about getting back to hard work. I just feel like in the last, being down with injury and being down through the holidays, it just seems like it's been an involuntary pause, I guess. And so sometimes that can just be crippling. It's hard to get back to it, but I found that I'm more excited now to get back to it. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of kickstarting that.
So we probably talked about it a little bit on the episode 1 of the season, but are you making your programs, or are you getting them from something?
Yeah, it's Hard to Kill Fitness.
Okay.
So they're just kind of like ex-military guys that put this together. Just a lot of different programs based on what you need. Sometimes it's like, how can I lean up? How can I get a little bit more shredded? How can I build some bulk muscle? And this is just kind of a compound of everything. This one adds a bit more cardio and those HIIT workouts to it. And I think that's something that I've been missing in the last 6 to 12 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What was kind of the focus for this 6 weeks? Like strength?
It's just been recovery with this hand. A lot of it has just been, I've been mostly going out for walks and hikes. I haven't really been able to do anything gym related. I think the last 2 weeks has been me getting back into the gym.
Speaking of walks and hikes, don't you have something coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I got my first forest therapy hike.
Not forced. Forest.
That's my southern coming out.
Well, no, I know when I told somebody about it the other day, they were like, I don't think I need to be forced.
Forced. Yes. Yeah, so I'm hoping to start doing one forest therapy hike or walk every month. So being January 1st of the year, this one's going to be a forest therapy goals hike. So essentially we're going to hike about a mile, sit down, do some single work, and then come together as a group, do some work, and then hike another mile, do some more work. It's all based around goal setting. And then when we get to the summit at King's Chair, I'm going to lead everybody through a visualization,
Awesome.
and then hike back and just have some refreshments and stuff at the end.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think there's a big correlation between well-being from a mental standpoint and the physical movement you have in nature. I'm really excited to start incorporating that into my practice. I think it's going to be good. I think this one is going to be a goals oriented hike, and then I think the one in February I'm going to do a gratitude hike or a gratitude walk. So the main focus on that one is going to be gratitude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that. Is there any room left in it yet?
Yeah, there's still a few spots available.
Okay.
So we can throw it in the link, or
Yeah, if I get this edited.
if you get it up beforehand. But if not, just know that
Yeah.
you can follow. I've got my website, tier1counselingsolutions.com, that has all my upcoming events.
Yeah, you saw the logo on the intro.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook as well. I usually post a good amount and make actual events for the things that I'm putting on.
Awesome. Well, I'm chugging through this real quick. Figured, we've kind of hit on a few different topics this season, and I'm liking the way we're doing the new format. We're trying to engage with the listeners, have more of a conversation with this podcast, and not necessarily just talk to each other, but talk to everybody.
Right.
We've hit on gym culture last week. The first week we talked a lot about setting goals, how to deal with that. This week, thought it'd be fitting we just talk about some supplements,
Especially since
we're not drinking whiskey today.
Right,
we're drinking protein shakes. So first thing I want to do is ask the listeners or the people who are watching, what kind of supplements do you take? I mean, obviously, if you're doing anything illegal, don't put it in the comments. But if you're drinking protein shakes on a regular basis, what brand? What do you use? Are you all natural? You don't even take creatine? As Trey from our other show would say, if you eat chicken, you're not natural. By all the steroids they put in them. But yeah, let us know, what is your typical supplement routine look like? Are you taking TRT because it's prescribed to you by a doctor? Are you taking TRT because you just want to look and feel younger? Whatever do you take? Just let us know, whatever you're comfortable sharing. Because from my experience, especially since getting into strongman, it's a wide range of what people take. I mean, I've heard BCP or something like that, 157, which is a peptide. They call it the Wolverine peptide.
Does it make claws come out of my hands?
No, but your hand looks like claws have come out of it. God almighty.
It's okay. It's coming back.
I just looked down and saw the Band-Aid, and the swelling was a little bit worse than it was the last time I saw you. But no, there's been strongmen who've completely detached muscles and been back competing within 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
So, I mean, they're taking this type of stuff. So I'm just curious as to what our listeners are using and taking, what they recommend.
Right.
Obviously, we're not sponsored by First Form, but we are an affiliate with them. So we always, when somebody comes to us for protein or supplement requests, we always refer them to First Form. But I never try to push that on anybody. That being said, if you want to look at it or check it out, there's a link in the description.
Yeah, I'm curious. I know a lot of people will go and test different supplements and say, try this regimen for a while, move to this one. What is your current supplement regimen look like?
So it's pretty minimal right now. We've done that nutrition class here now twice. And I always tell my athletes or my clients, anybody who comes to me with advice on what to do, is try to get everything through your diet. Get it through whole foods. Don't get it through supplements if you can help it. Supplements are literally called that because they supplement what you're lacking. And I know me and you have very different views on food. So for me, it's a supplement to help me prevent from overeating. Because if it was up to me just getting my diet, I could easily do it, but the issue would be I would probably eat 6,000 to 7,000 calories a day. I have done that in my past. I don't want to go back to that.
Right.
And for you, it would probably be the opposite because you don't enjoy food like I do. But right now, typical day for me would be maybe 1 to 2 protein shakes, like a midday. Like today, I'm using it as my lunch because I've already had kind of a heavy breakfast. I don't need a ton of calories right now, but I'm low on protein. And then post-workout, and then I've got my creatine that I take every day. That is the one supplement that I recommend everybody take. And then I take salt packs.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it for me right now. Every now and then I'll eat a protein bar just as a meal replacement.
Right.
But I'm not taking, I've seen people take glutamine, carnite. I'm probably butchering these words, but they'll have 6 to 7 tubs of different things that they take all throughout the day. BCAAs, all that stuff. EAAs.
And if you need them, great. I try to go back to how can the most natural approach to getting the things that I need.
I mean, my most aesthetic physique, the only thing I was doing was drinking protein shakes. And I take that back. I was taking a joint pain supplement because I was so low on fats that my joints just ached. And I was even taking fish oil, vitamins, but I was also taking a joint supplement just to keep my elbows and knees from hurting so bad. Because unfortunately, if you do start to get to a certain body fat percentage and you don't have the fat in your diet to help lubricate those joints, it just gets miserable.
Right.
I always tell everybody, the first 3 things that if you're looking to supplement stuff, creatine, number 1, because there's been so many studies that show 0 negative side effects, and it's help with cognitive abilities. So I'm about to start reaching, I'm not ready for conspiracy theory of the day yet, But, you know, I'm touching on that because it's studies that I haven't dug into, but I've just seen kind of like the preface of it, where Alzheimer's and dementia are starting to get called diabetes type 3 because the brain uses glycogen for energy. And when you deplete your carb source, you don't get enough carbs in, your brain doesn't have enough fuel source. And then the brain starts, if it doesn't have enough water either, your brain is mostly water. Creatine will help your body absorb and hold on to the water. And that they've shown creatine is actually helping patients with dementia. So it's not reversing it, but it's slowing it down.
Right.
And I'm curious to see what studies they come, because they started, like, I know a lot of people who started giving their grandmothers and grandfathers daily dose 5 milligrams of creatine every day.
Yeah.
Or 5 grams, whatever it is. Just a scoop.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I always recommend to everybody. Is there anything that you are like 100%?
I mean, same thing. I won't miss a day of creatine. Like, it's just, I take it every single morning. Same thing, protein shakes. Sometimes it's 2 a day. Most of the times it's 1. I've got where I've tried to do a mid-afternoon, just kind of snack protein shake, and then do one after post-workout. So, and that just helps me hit those protein levels that I'm really looking to get to help build some of that muscle.
What's your protein goals a day? Just curious.
118.
118? Okay.
And I think that it's, if I follow my daily routine Monday through Friday, I pretty much hit it every single day. I've kind of got it down to this is how it is. Weekends, it fluctuates. I'm a little less rigid on the weekends about what I eat, just because I don't have that set schedule, and it's me creating my own schedule. So, and those are the times we go out to eat or maybe indulge in other activities that, you know, we'll go get ice cream or do something that's out of the norm of the Monday through Friday.
Well, we've talked about it at length because we've known each other for so long, but just the way we view food, and not to try to dig too deep into eating disorders or anything like that, but it is interesting to me, at least, and I'm maybe to our viewers, how we see food. Because it definitely is a huge mental aspect to it, and you know, kind of balancing between, you know, my personal training and your mental health training. Like, there's probably a lot of people who fall on both sides.
Absolutely.
Like, for me, food is almost like just enjoyment. Like, I eat because I like to eat. I eat food for the taste. I put hot sauce on a ton of food, you know, a ton of sodium.
Right.
So I really have to rein in myself a lot of times to keep from overindulging. And that, one, most of the time I get all the protein I need. The problem is I start getting way too much fat and carbs. And I always tell people, when you're trying to build a balanced diet, focus on protein and your overall caloric. Because protein, you got to get your number. If you hit your protein goal but stay under your calorie goal, your fats and carbs are going to balance out. So the problem is trying to rein that in. Whereas, from my understanding, you're kind of the opposite. Like, you're trying to force feed yourself, right?
It's, for me, I don't enjoy food like you enjoy food. My view on food is this is an energy source that I have to keep me functioning on a daily basis. And so for me, I will literally eat the same meal every single day, Monday through Friday, for 2 weeks at a time, and then I'll slightly adjust it. And for me, a lot of my coworkers are like, I can't believe you do that. Don't you find any sense of enjoyment? I was like, I mean, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's about energy. I want to have sustained energy throughout my day. I know if I eat this is how I'm going to react to it. There's not a lot of variables.
So I guess what we can give to our listeners would be what we do to balance. Because, I mean, for me, coming from the opposite side, where I'm having to rein myself in. You talked about eating the same thing every day, same meal, same setup, everything. I can do that for the most part. But then when I'm presented with the opportunity to, outside of that, I go off the rails.
Right.
So what I've tried to do, and I've seen the best results from, is I get really regimented from breakfast, from the time I wake up till dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So my breakfast is the same thing almost every day. Maybe swapping out one
2
snack
items,
for another
yeah.
snack, or one apple for a banana, something like that. But it's caloric, macro friendly. The breakdown is the exact same. I have my same breakfast, my morning snack, my lunch, my afternoon snack, my pre-workout snack, and then by the time I get to dinner, I'm within 20 grams of my protein goal, because I'm trying to shoot for 220 a day.
Okay.
And I'm trying to stay under 2,400 calories. So by the time most afternoons I get, before we go to Zappapans or we go, order dinner, I'm sitting at 200 grams of protein and probably about 1,100 calories. So that means I have 900 to 1,200 calories to do what I want with.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got to make sure I just at least get 20 grams of protein, which if I get chicken in my food, I'm going to hit that.
Yeah, right.
So it allows me to have that daily freedom at the end to kind of overindulge, get the cheese dip, have a margarita, whatever I want to do, and I'm not going to blow the scale up. Like,
right.
doing that for 2 weeks straight, I flatline. And then all I got to do from there is just maybe pull back just a little bit on my calories. So
Right.
instead of having 900 or 1,200 available, maybe I just have 600 to 800.
Right.
And I find that window.
And I think that's what it boils down to. And so I think every individual is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of looking at diet and looking at that is it all falls back to boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
It's boundary setting. And it sounds like you have established a boundary for yourself and it works. And so essentially there's typically 3 types of boundaries. There's rigid boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
there's loose boundaries, and then there's healthy boundaries, which is kind of the balance of what you're trying to strive for. And I think there's times that you need to set rigid boundaries in certain areas, and there's times that you can have a little bit more loose. But if you can find that balanced, healthy boundary, that's, I think, when you can fall into, healthy eating patterns that you feel comfortable with. And when you set those balanced and healthy boundaries, you are able to have a margarita. You are able to have a snack when you want to have a snack. It's not so regimented. And I have fallen into, at times, rigid boundaries, and a lot of it's been research. I want to know, if I follow this specific thing, does my performance increase? Mm-hmm. Or will I see an improvement of my endurance if I have a little bit looser diet, or if I have a more rigid diet? And I have found that where I perform my best is when it's balanced, mm-hmm. because it plays into not just your intake and how that energy level is flowing, but it's also satisfaction. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people will say, I have to have these rigid boundaries. I can't have this. I can't have that. And what are you telling yourself? You're telling yourself, like, I'm going to sacrifice a lot of joy, because I would like to venture to say most people enjoy food.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I think I'm the outlier on this one.
Yeah.
And I've been told, because even like just in my work setting, everybody's like, I can't wait to eat this. I'm so excited. And I'm like, I don't know that I've ever been excited about a meal in my entire life. Maybe bacon.
Alex and I, for our birthdays, we don't do gifts anymore. We do trips. And the number one thing we're looking at, is what to eat.
It's restaurants.
Yeah, we're picking where we're going based off of restaurants. Like, we stayed downtown Birmingham for her birthday just a couple weekends ago, only because we wanted to go to East West. It's just awesome food. We pick trips based around food.
No, I will say, when I'm not a foodie by any means, but we traveled to Rome last January, and I was blown away about how good I felt after every meal. It was real food. Yeah. There was no preservatives, and we booked a kind of food tour where they showed us, like, this is the typical day of somebody in Rome. This is the meals that they eat. This is blah 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 blah, and it was just so enriching to see a culture that is not taking the easy way out when it comes to food. And a lot of times, I still feel like I have a semi-clean diet here, but if I eat pasta and chicken Alfredo from our local Italian place, I still feel heavy. I still feel a little bit, but I could eat my weight in that food over there. And I just got up and walked 2 miles back to our hotel.
It's the difference in quality of ingredients.
It's amazing, and they take pride in it. They're not just trying to like, but also that falls into capitalistic culture of like we have to be go go go. We have to have this because we got to get to work. They take the time to sit down, enjoy meals, enjoy the presence of who they're with, and it's not this fast paced. And so I'm wondering how much that plays into what we consume and how well we feel in our own diet.
I know for a fact, that is a lot to do with processing the food, not necessarily like preservatives and everything, but take protein for an example. If you buy a very cheap protein, there's a reason why it's cheap, and it's probably going to mess your gut up. It's because when they cook the animal byproduct from whey, it turns it into powder. That's what you're mixing in your drink. They have to cook it. But if they cook it at a really high temperature, the yield is a lot more, because think about it. If I had 10 pounds of chicken I got to cook, if I throw it on a grill at 800 degrees, it's going to cook really quick. I can process all 10 pounds of that really quick.
Right.
But it's all going to be black, crispy gunk.
Right.
But if I cook it at 300 degrees, slow cook, it's going to take me several hours to cook through 10 pounds. So it's going to cost more to cook it, but it's going to be way more quality, juicier. It's going to be better for you. That's what ends up happening with protein. So just buying cheap protein because it's cheap may not give you the same results.
Right.
And that can be said for everything, not just, protein, but all of our ingredients. If it's cheap, unfortunately, it's probably the most unhealthy. It sucks that the healthy stuff is the more expensive stuff. You go buy, except for in the case of buying a whole cow, like Scott purchased a whole half cow or something with his family. It was super cheap by pound, but I mean, obviously you got to pay like $1,800 for the calf or whatever. But that's kind of getting way off subject here. But I think that's probably why you felt better than what you did, because it was probably stuff that was grown close by.
Oh, absolutely. And it boils down to, quality over quantity, essentially. And that can even fall back on training. I think a lot of people think, I need to increase the amount of times I go to the gym. I need to increase the amount of reps I got to do. If you take a step back, it may be you need to have better reps. You may need to focus more while you're in the gym. I can get the same results coming here 3 days a week if I'm locked in and focused than if I come 5 days a week and I'm carrying on and being social.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times we focus too much on the quantity of things instead of the quality. Same thing with running. A lot of people are like, I need to put in all these miles. I'm training for this 50K. I need more miles, more this, more that. But what are the quality of your runs? Like, is your 5 mile run on Thursday a quality based run, or are you just going out there and covering the ground? So I think if you refocus and say, hey, I'm going to put more quality effort into this and quality focus, you're going to get more results than just having that quantity. It's a hard concept to grasp, because we're in that. We need more of this. We need to be in our seats more. We need to be attentive more.
Yeah.
But
no, it's definitely interesting. What would you say to someone who is struggling? I know you probably don't have a lot of experience with eating disorders or anything, but someone who's struggling to push past that dietary issue. I guess I'm gonna give you a perfect example, or a clear example. If someone like you doesn't see food as enjoyment, they only eat because it's necessary to survive, but they want to see improvement, but they got a mental block for food. How would you talk with someone like that?
Well, we'll say eating disorders it's definitely a specialty. I would refer anybody to a specialty counselor for that specific, just because it's so in depth.
Yeah.
But from a baseline standpoint, if you're just looking at trying to get through that mental block, it may be taking a step back and processing and exploring, where did this correlation with food start?
Because I not to cut you off,
No,
but
you're
just
fine.
to clarify a little bit, I have had multiple clients come to me. I just can't gain weight. I can't gain weight. I eat all I want. I can't gain weight. I'm like, you eat all you want. That's you're probably not eating all you need. And they're like, no, I eat so much. And then I said, all right, write down everything you ate today, and it's like 700 calories.
Right.
And they're like, I ate all this food today. I'm like, but it's not as much as you think.
But that's perfect because that's like, hey, let's take a step back and let's explore it, because a lot of people they don't know. So I always use the term, you can't read the label when you're inside the bottle. Yeah. So they are thinking they're doing the most. When if you an outside party comes in and says, yeah, write it down, I want to physically track this, they can say, this is why you're not gaining weight. You're only taking in 800 calories, and then you're probably exercising for 2 hours, and now you're down to how many? So like, yeah, that's what needs to be adjusted. And so I think it's identifying the actual reality of it and then making adjustments from there. But I think that's a beautiful example of write down what you're taking in and let's review it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the only way I've ever been able to get through to those people. Mm-hmm. You know, and not saying anything negative about them. They just, in their head, they're eating till they're miserably full, but because they don't eat a lot, generally their stomach's not stretched. Like our stomach stretches. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're eating like a competitive food eater, like their stomach's super stretched. Right. They are able to take in all that food. They look like they have distended guts when they walk away from the table, kind of thing.
And I think it'd be important also to figure out the why. Like, why do you want to gain weight? Is that something that you truly want, or is this something that's an external thing that's trying to get you to gain? So I think there's a lot that goes into it. But, you know, it took me a long time. I have a small frame. Growing up, I was working out with collegiate athletes that looked tremendously different than I am. We're talking like 225, 230, shredded. Mm-hmm. I'm a $130, not able to. I'm looking at that frame, it's like, ooh, I want that body type. And it took me a long time to really come to the reality of that's not my body type. Yeah. I need to work within the constraints of what my body type is and say, what's realistic?
You're definitely a slow twitch muscle fiber. For sure. Like the endurance that your body has is insane. So, I mean,
but I had to learn that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be a Henry, what's his name? Henry
Cavill.
Won't be him, but I can maybe look like Tyler Durden from Fight Club. You know what I'm saying?
You can pull off the Flash physique.
Yeah, actually, I can do that.
That should be our Halloween costumes, just superheroes.
We should. Yeah. We should. I'm going to keep that in mind for the sunrise hike, the Halloween sunrise hike.
There we go. And I thought it was kind of fitting with us not drinking today.
Yeah.
To really hit on, one, supplements, but also diet and how people perceive food. Because that relationship, especially with Americans, is it's very messed up. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. Because I even came across a study. It was I don't know what his degree was in or whatever, but he was a professor. And he wanted to prove that calories in, calories out was all that mattered. And macros didn't. So he ate an entire diet consisting of nothing but candy. And he made sure he hit the same calories every day. Right. He didn't gain any weight. He didn't lose any weight. And he stayed the same weight for however long he did it. But the problem is his body composition changed.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people fail to understand. You can't turn fat into muscle, and you can't turn muscle into fat, but you can lose one and gain the other at a symmetrical rate. So what he did when he was on that diet, his muscle mass was probably reducing and his body fat was increasing, and the scale was balancing. 220-pound man can look very different based off of what his body composition is.
Absolutely. So absolutely.
That's another reason why I really harp on protein.
And I think it's not always just about, body composition. You look at the diet that you have and how your relationship with food, because a lot of times that's falling into is that I know when I eat like shit, I'm probably not going to sleep well. And that's going to decrease my amount of focus. That's going to decrease my amount of work. It's like now my energy levels are off. And so it is that cycle. So a lot of times it's not just about how am I going to look, of how I'm taking, how am I going to feel? How am I going to sleep at night? Do I have enough energy to get through the day? Do I have enough energy to stay focused, like fine-tunedly focused on the work that I need to accomplish.
The problem is our bodies are not built to be shredded. Like that is not the human natural physique. And
Right.
that, unfortunately, everybody sees that and thinks, oh, that's what I want to be. I've been that. It's miserable.
Because it takes a lot of rigid boundaries to get to that
Like,
level.
you can be lean and be healthy and be comfortable, but, and I'm not saying be fat. I'm not saying be real skinny. I'm saying you've got to find a good balance, because I have been 165 pounds. You could see all the muscles in my core. Luckily it was when I was like 18, 19, or I was 19 or 20 years old, because I was right out of college, and my body wasn't hurting. But when I got back to my lowest again at 180 pounds at 30 years old, it was like my body was falling apart. So 30 years old, I got down to 180, got the abs back, was eating the exact same meal every single day. I was taking joint mobility, taking a vitamin pack, taking greens, doing 3 protein shakes a day. I was taking creatine, BCAAs, EAAs. My counter looked like a daggone pharmacy, just to keep me feeling better, because I was only taking in like 1,800 calories a day, but like I think 50 to 60% of that was protein,
Right.
to maintain muscle. And my joints hurt, my back hurt. But at 34 right now, nearly 50 pounds heavier than 45 pounds heavier than what I was there. My back doesn't hurt anymore. My knees don't hurt. My elbows don't hurt. Everything feels good. I don't have a six pack by any means. I've got a little bit of Dunlap syndrome, Dunlap over my belt. But, you know, if I take my shirt off, my stomach's not huge, but you don't see abs anymore.
Right.
But I feel way better. So it's like you got to find what you're comfortable looking like versus what you're comfortable being.
And same thing for me. You know, for about 10 years, I was big into ultra running. And so up until 2021, I was doing those 100-mile race, 50-mile races consistently. Like 50 to 80 miles a week was the typical training week. And I'm not going to maintain any kind of muscle mass because I wasn't coming to the gym. I wasn't eating properly. I was just, again, going to the quantity.
I don't think I saw you eat anything more than like nuts and a banana.
I was on that hippie granola guy.
Dude, like every time I saw you, it was just a little tray of nuts and bananas.
But, you know, and so then my weight fluctuated from 125 to 128. I mean, obviously I could see every muscle in my body, but it wasn't broad. But I hurt. Like I was achy all the time when I crawled out of bed. My knees were hurting. Like I just didn't feel healthy. And then after my last 100-mile race in 2021, I was just like, I'm done with this. I'm tired of dedicating so much time into training. It's not fun for me anymore. And so I took that a different approach. It took 6 months off everything, and then signed up for you guys, you know, and got back into the gym. And now I have a pretty good balance of strength training, HIIT training, still doing long hikes and long runs. I'm still able to cover ultra distances when I want to. But now I'm sitting in between, you know, 150, 155 at all times, and I feel great. Right. I'm almost 40 now. I'm 40 this year. The grays can show it, but I feel better at this age than I did at my late 20s.
Yeah. Oh,
like
man.
Hands down. And I think it's the direct correlation of my diet, how I'm taking care of myself, the strength training, and not overdoing it in one area. And I think, and again, it's fortunately I do a lot of core work, so I still have a six pack. But there are spots where it's like, oh, that used to be super hard, and now like we're a little bit softer. But I feel better.
Yeah.
Like I just feel better overall, and I mean, it's just for me, it was worth carrying around the extra weight.
Yes.
And then not having to feel achy all the time.
Exactly. My lower back is the big indicator for me. Definitely got my diet. I'm starting to try to clean it up a little bit, just because I would like to be somewhere in that 210 range.
Okay.
That was probably where I looked and felt the best overall. Like I didn't have a defined six pack, but I didn't have my pants wasn't like cutting into my sides.
Right.
But my back felt better and got stronger and all that. So
Right.
you know, and that's where I'm about to start making adjustments here and there. Well, I guess, is there any questions that you want to ask the audience based off of that?
I would just be curious of what they thought. Like, what do you put more on the aesthetics of how you look versus how you feel? I would just be curious of that aspect. How many more people want to aesthetically look better, or are you preferring how you feel or the way you look?
I'd be curious to know that too. So yeah, let us know down in the comments. What's your preferred? Like, would you rather look good and ache, or would you rather not care about what you look and just feel good, or is there kind of a halfway point?
I feel like that's where I'm at. I'm at a balance.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
My 20s, I definitely wanted to just look good.
Who cares?
I got Alex, married her. Now she can't really get away from me, so she had to put up with the beard and the belly.
What about the mustache when you shave the beard off?
She actually asked me to bring that back.
Bring it back.
I'm about to. She said,
I'm
she
here
goes,
for
like,
it.
do the 5 o'clock shadow with the mustache. She said she didn't like it in the time. And then she saw a picture the other day, and she goes, I think I like that. I think you want to bring it back. And I thought she was joking. So I didn't do it, but she wanted me to do it for her birthday.
I'm here for it, man.
So now I got to go.
I wish I could grow me a big mustache. I just can't do it.
I just bought some beard butter, and I like trying to tame it a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I did the curl up, it was perfect little
I
circle.
love it.
Oh, man.
So, what's the conspiracy of the day?
I have not prepared one.
Okay.
So I was going to say, do you want to go, because you know me, I got a bunch just on hand.
Right.
Do you want to go like way out there or something that's more plausible? So, I mean, I can go like aliens or dinosaurs, but I can also do TikTok, you know. What happened?
Let's do the TikTok since that just came back. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, it went down for 17 hours, came back up. Oh, man. So I'm not as versed on those conspiracy theories, but I will just tell you what I've heard. And I'm going to put the disclaimer out there. I do not believe these. I don't know anything about why, what, who, or any of the information on this. This is literally just what I have seen over the past 24 hours. I don't believe it. I got to nail that down because I know all these theories. People think I am a conspiracy theory nut, and I'm like, no, I just enjoy hearing what the people think, and it's
So to clarify, what you're saying is that you believe all of these things.
no. So there was. I'm just going to run through all the different options.
Okay.
There was one that said they were shutting it down on the 19th. Makes no sense. They went shut down for the 19th, but the inauguration's on the 20th. And they were like, this is going to be the last thing that Biden does, shut it down, and Trump's going to bring it back. Well, there was a mindset that they were shutting it down because this is the only true platform where we can share information freely, and something's going to happen to Trump, or something's going to happen and he's not going to get in the office, and they don't want us to be able to share the information. And obviously that didn't happen because it came back live yesterday on the 19th. It went down Saturday night and came back up Sunday. So that one's debunked. Like, obviously.
Because we're in office, right? At the time was?
I would assume.
Okay.
It was about to start happening when we started recording. Option 2, Facebook/Meta is buying it, which is a huge issue for multiple reasons. TikTok has a lot of data information shared by its users. Like when you sign up for it, there's a lot of information that gets shared out, but Facebook shares way more. Like if you look at the breakdown of what gets pulled out of your information, Facebook and Instagram pull so much. I mean, they're just as dangerous. The only difference is their servers are owned by U.S. companies.
Gotcha.
So it's not a breach of national security. But the TikTok algorithm is the holy grail of algorithms, apparently. So that's why people enjoy scrolling on TikTok. And I've noticed, like, if I'm on TikTok scrolling, the videos, majority of the time, are geared to what I would be interested in. But I've been on Facebook, the Reels, scrolling, and I'll say, like, oh, fitness one. Oh, Chinese dude doing a fake magic trick that's clearly faked because he goes, and okay, why are you showing me that?
Right.
Scroll. Next one is somebody from South Africa building a hut out of mud. And I'm like, it's just random.
Right, I got you.
Nothing related to me as who I am. And they said that Facebook was pushing the powers that be to shut it down and push it to a point where it had to be sold to stay live. And they took over. And then somebody, again, don't know if it's true, they just posted it this morning, that when the servers went down Saturday night and then came back live Sunday, they had moved and they were in North Carolina, wherever the Meta servers are. So that one is more plausible because not only did that get reported, but Facebook and Instagram created a TikTok page on the 18th.
And did you see where the Instagram feed, the grids turned away from the squares into the more elongated rectangles like TikTok?
Mm-hmm. So there's, they even put a thought bubble over your TikTok when it came back, kind of like Facebook does. You can write your thoughts for the day.
Like the note kind of did? Oh.
And Instagram does the notes and Facebook does the notes, and now TikTok has that. So the second, more plausible, is that Meta is taking TikTok over. Because also the guy who was the CEO of TikTok, his page no longer has CEO on it anymore. So we don't know. The third, I guess, option is that, and it's my favorite just because it's, I guess I shouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's Trump intimidated enough to where he got it back, because when it came back live, I don't know if when you opened it Sunday, did you see the message?
Oh, the message was like,
it was like, thanks to your president's efforts, Donald Trump,
right, I did see
TikTok has returned. And it's like, it was just Biden shut it down, Trump brought it back just to give Trump a little more push.
Yeah.
And in my head, and I saw a few people make videos, same thing I was thinking is like, these people who really, really hate Trump but really like TikTok, now it's like the perfect meme I saw. It was Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and he's sitting out on the surfboard next to
Russell Brand.
He goes, man, I really just want to hate you, but you're kind of cool. And I was like, and it said liberals over there, and it said Trump. I was like, I really just want to hate you, but you're kind of cool.
Right. Well, I'm glad it's sticking around. Mm-hmm. That's like my main platform that I observe my cat content. And so they have the cutest cats.
Well, if that goes away, that goes a lot of my conspiracy theory information. Because like, right. I get down these rabbit holes and I collect it for this show and, personal use. But
yeah, it's fun.
So of the three options, what do you think is the most plausible?
I would say number 2 is the most
Facebook,
plausible.
Meta buying it.
It's just kind of like, because Instagram used to be its own platform. It used to be independent, and then obviously Facebook, and they all interconnected. So I think it's a matter of time before all three come together as a triangle. I like the idea that TikTok's by itself. I feel like it's just a more real platform. I think Facebook is it's been taken over by a different generation, and so it's more family oriented and sharing news, where Instagram is still very curated. Like, I want this to look picturesque. I think there's a lot of heavy focus on still pictures from an Instagram standpoint, and TikTok is that. It's that kind of catch-all. It's like, I'm just making video content, and a lot of it's real time. Just like, this is what's happening. And I get a lot of my news. Yeah. And the things that are not making actual news, I can see what's happening in Washington that's not being reported. And so I think I like the TikTok platform. Probably, I don't know. I think I'm always going to be partial to Instagram because I love photography, and I think you can just create. I like the idea of posting a single picture and creating a story behind that. And that's just from an artistic standpoint.
Let's see. I mean, Facebook, I would have gotten rid of long ago. But every time I even bring up getting rid of it, Alex gets on to me. She's like, no, it's where all of our pictures are, because before Instagram, Facebook was where we put a lot of stuff.
The albums. And
So, Facebook, yeah, like you said, it's more family, but it's so moderated. Like, there is a lot of control.
Right.
So the information is not free information. It's not just people speaking what they really want. I think that's why I like TikTok.
Right. I like the Facebook platform from an event standpoint. You can create an event, and it's just easy to gather people to get quick information out. But yeah, I like the idea of TikTok being able to just kind of be an open source for information.
Well, I think that's about it. We're at 53 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was solid. I think it was solid. I think it was a little bit different feel.
Yeah.
With drinking just protein.
Yeah. And we don't have anything to chug at the end.
No. May just have to come back up here later tonight after the workouts and take a shot of whiskey.
Well, appreciate you joining me on a lunch break today.
Absolutely.
For anybody who may be watching who knows what I do for a living, I do get a lunch break. All right.
And it's an hour, and we're at 53 minutes.
That's right. So
I was off work today, so I can't.
I tried. I called my boss. I said, today's a holiday, right? He goes, not for you. I said, come on. It's Martin Luther King Day, and it's the inauguration.
Yeah.
He's like, nope. You get 6 other holidays, not this one. All right. Well, remember, nobody cares.
Train harder.
That's